Hey,
Avery, how are you?
fine, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you. You look
Thank you.
sharp tonight.
Thank you. I put on a tie because we have a special guest tonight, and she asked me if I would wear a tie. So
Oh,
I said,
that's nice.
of course. It is Monday. It's October 26th. It's 8 p.m. and we are
Live.
live. So welcome to our Conversations on the Green. This is our second installment, and we have an incredible guest. I was just saying to this guest prior that uh, we've known she's like Harold Green family. We've known her for so long. She's been in
Yeah.
so many shows, and yet I know so little about her life. So I'm really excited about this hour coming up. So if you want to do if you want to introduce this incredible lady, let's just get on with the conversation.
We're going to find more about her tonight, and I'm excited about that. Also, you were fantastic last night. I just want to
Oh,
say we had
thank
the
you.
Avery Saltzman Cabaret, which you still can get tickets to for the next at least 72 hours. And we have Amy Sky, and we have a terrific radio show we're going to talk about, Crossing Delancey, which our guest is in as well.
Yeah.
So you can get that on our website. You can make a donation to our theater company. You can make some comments or ask questions, either directly right of your screen or click where you can make some comments. They'll take you to that site. But let me introduce Theresa Tova, who is an award-winning performer, singer, a writer. She's done it all. She is part of the Harold Green family with all her productions she's done with us. She happens to also be the president of ACTRA Toronto, amongst many things. She's also a wonderful, hardworking, talented lady. Ladies and gentlemen, Theresa Tova.
Yay!
There she is.
How are you?
Is this a debate where I get put on mute and I can't talk after 2 minutes or something? But I was going to argue already and say, I didn't ask you to wear a tie. I said, what are you wearing tonight? And then you
Well, I thought
wear a tie for you.
Well, I thought I would wear a tie for you because you're a member of the Mishpacha, and I thought, why not just dress up nice for this beautiful lady? So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, both of you.
We're thrilled. And we saw you recently. We're going to get into some of the stuff you're doing for us now virtually. Let's go back to the beginning.
Oi.
Oi.
Of us, I feel like I've known you both for so long, and I have.
Yeah.
And you have in the 80s. Yeah, definitely. But even before 80s in Toronto, you grew up in Calgary, born in Paris, but grew up in Calgary. And you had hardworking parents. I know your mother lost her whole family in the Holocaust, but your dad, thankfully, had his whole family survive. But they were hardworking people, blue collar. And is that part of when I see Theresa Tova riding to work from one job to the next and then riding home? You have such a terrific, and then have a multitude of jobs and you along with your acting career.
Riding home on what though?
On your older bike, which isn't even that tuned up so far as today's technology. It's tuned up, I'm sure.
That's true.
But was that where you got that work ethic from your folks?
You
Is
know,
that where it started?
My parents are Holocaust survivors. They met in Paris after the war. My mother smuggled herself in on top of a train. My dad, I don't know, miracle of miracles, they all went north to Russia. They survived. They got to Paris as well. They met there, they married, they had 3 children, and we immigrated to Canada when I was 18 months old. And my mother spoke, Oliver Sholem, she spoke 7 languages fluently because of the war. You had to, whatever country you were wandering through the woods in, you had to speak the language perfectly or you'd be shot. And my father spoke 9 languages. But English was their worst. Oi!
Oh, wow.
Oi!
Are you the young one?
I believe, which I'm the one on the left with the missing teeth in the back, standing next to
me.
Wow. And this is his bar mitzvah. So I would be, oh my gosh, I would be 9.
11? Wow.
9 or 10 years old there. And they didn't speak English very well. And we were brought over by family who sponsored us as visitors and never left. And every few months had to go back to the government and say, could we have an extension? Could we have an extension?
Nice.
And finally, a judge got tired of it all and said, are you ever going back? And he gave them immigrant status. And then 7 years in, I remember the day exactly when my parents went and got Canadian citizenship. Finally.
Was the Holocaust mentioned growing up? I mean,
Constantly.
because some households keep it quiet.
No, constantly. My mother was quite wounded. I wrote a play about it called Still the Night that was very successful and played across the country, a musical, because my mother was a hero. You know, she lived in the woods for 5 years, running at night, hiding in the daytime under the bushes with her cousin of the same name. They were two Bronkes. And my mother was a very refined woman from Warsaw with carriages to the opera house every Saturday night. And, you know, she'd laugh. We had no money. My father he didn't speak English either. And somebody got him a truck, a 5-ton truck, and he traveled around Calgary through the mountains, picking up junk. He was a junk dealer. He had a big cartoon on the side of his truck that said, Harry, a friendly junkie. What does your father do, little girl? My daddy's a junkie. Yeah.
Was that a good childhood?
And how does that affect you, that with your folks and stuff? And
I went to a private Yiddish school, Yudlam.
Wow.
My parents didn't speak English in the home. This is was my Yiddish is so geht. Es ist ein natürlichen, tiefen polnischen Yiddish. I went to private Yiddish school. I was Yiddish valedictorian, and I was raised in a school, Yudlam mit Peretz, that had 60 kids in the whole school.
Wow.
We were all greenhorns kids. We were all immigrants. And we had no music, we had no theater, we had no drama, we had no art. We studied 4 languages. From kindergarten to grade 6, by the time you were in 4th grade, you were studying in 4 languages.
Amazing.
But every year, and the reason I'm telling this is because it's my first bit of theater, is that every year at the holidays, you would present things to the parents that would come. And my first job, not paying job, but my first thing that I remember was I was in grade 5, and the room was grade 5 on one side, grade 6 on the other. And Lara Eichler said, there's one part for a woman who would like to do it. Well, and I have no idea why, but he looked to the grade 6s and they looked to the grade 5s and he went, Tobe. That was my Yiddish name, Tobe.
Wow.
Tobe, die kennst das Tien, you can do it. And the story was the Warsaw Ghetto, and there was men coming in worrying about not having a minyan, so they didn't have enough men that they could pray. And in the middle of this male-centric narrative, I come as a young woman, mother of a baby, and I'm sorry, but this is what they had me do when I was 10 years old in grade 5. I did a monologue throwing myself against the Euren Kodesh and doing a monologue about watching the Nazis take my baby and throw it in the air and use it as target practice. I was in grade 5. Now that colors, I think, your emotional being. It colors everything. And
what was the motivation behind that, or their motivation behind that? Was there one, or
Holocaust survivors who lived through the hell of the Holocaust, of the war, and of what the Nazis did to them, had no shame in Well, they did have shame. It's weird because they did have shame. My mother didn't talk about what happened to her. She was brutalized in the woods. She was gang raped many, many times in the woods. I was living in the 70s through a sexual revolution, and my mother had been through so much, I mean, I used to say, you know, my mother went through so much, but, I never fucked anybody for my life, and I mean, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for her, and Jews can be really hard on Holocaust survivors, especially women at the time who went through what she went through. I felt sorry for my mom my whole life growing up because she was so embarrassed by what she was forced to do. It made me an actor.
Yeah.
And it made you an actor.
Yeah.
I know, and you talk about the authenticity that you put into that performance that has, I want to say haunted you, but also that you strive for in your work.
I remember in high school, my mother coming to see me, and I'd done an Edward Albee piece in high school, playing Mummy in the sandbox. And I was so excited because it went so well, and there was lots of people, and it was really cool. And I see my mom down the hallway, and I go running down the hallway, and I go, "So, Mom, what did you think?" And she turns around, and she's tears streaming down her face, and she looks at me, and she goes, "So that's what you think of me?" And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had no idea until that moment. And she turned on her heels and she left. And I remember crying to my high school drama teacher, Mr. Eady. I went, "Why was she so mean?" He goes, "Didn't you know that's what you were doing?" He says, "I knew what you were doing. You were accessing all your mother's pain, your mother's anger, and your mother's angst. And, and so at 17 years old, I was this young actor that could access my emotions, which basically were my mother's."
Maybe that was your salvation too.
Yeah, I don't argue, Avery.
Yeah.
I think it gave me an outlet, and I was very, very lucky because theater, I think it just, it made me who I am. My mom made me who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
how did that reflect on your siblings too? Did they have the same type of
outlets?
No,
they didn't. And I was very lucky. I was very lucky that I had that thing, that I could escape into.
Yeah.
But my mother would grow, it was in my play. I mean, she would get up in the middle of the night with huge nightmares, and there's a cycle of abuse that happens with Holocaust survivors and their children, and
they're damaged. Yeah,
they really are. They really are. And it wasn't a time of going to see psychologists and therapists working things out.
No, exactly.
You just shut up and had your own nightmares. So it was tough.
At 17, you did this play, and you did it. What was your first professional gig in Calgary?
Well, it's funny that you should say 17, because actually my first that gig, I was in high school, but my first paid gig, I actually was 17.
Right.
And I'd gone to a drama camp. I knew I wanted to do theater. And I'd gone to camp in Olds, Drumheller or Olds. I went a couple of years running. And, we had amazing teachers like the head of the Bristol Old Vic, and Ken Deba came, and he brilliant director. I came home, and that fall after summer camp, theater camp, and I had a phone call at home. I was 17, and Ken Deba called and said he wanted to talk to me. My mother gave me the phone and said, "Listen, I'm not surprised. I'm not making any promises, but I don't know. I just can't get you out of my head. I'm directing a play at the Glencoe Club." Remind me to tell you about that in a minute. But I'll tell you now. The Glencoe Club was kind of like the Granite Club here in Toronto.
No Jews allowed.
No Jews allowed.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And he says, "I'm directing a play called And Miss Reardon Drinks a Little by Paul Zindel."
Yes.
And there's the part of the neurotic high school. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Thank my mother again. So the neurotic high school, what do you call it? Where you come and talk to them about your problem.
Guidance counselor.
Therapist.
That's exactly it. So he says, I don't know why. You're only 17. There's no way. It's a professional production. But would you do me a favor? Would you just come and read this thing for us? Read the play? So I arrive at the time that he made the appointment for, and the whole cast is there. Sheila Junior Moore. I mean, these great actors. John Morrell, the great playwright, playing my husband in that show. Oh my gosh. And anyway, I read the play for the whole cast, everybody together, and I got a few laughs and this and that. And Ken says, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, could you wait outside, Tova? And I guess they talked about it. He got permission from them all to cast me because I was 17 years old.
Brilliant.
Play a 45-year-old neurotic guidance counselor. And then
Jewish.
And Jewish, yeah. I remember with a beehive and everything. And I know, oh God, you're not even asking questions, but let me tell you.
That's okay.
I was told, Peter Zowski did this to me once. He goes, I haven't asked you a question. These are great stories. You can't make this shit up. So so they tell me, yes, your parents can come to see the show in a restricted club that doesn't allow Jews, but tell them they shouldn't tell anyone that they're Jewish. Yeah. So my mother, the Holocaust survivor, had a little bit of a different idea. So during the show that night, this one night, the opening night, my fellow actors, every time they come off a scene that I'm not in, they come off and they're complaining. What is wrong with that audience? They keep talking through everything I'm doing. They won't shut up. And every time I go out, there's perfect silence. And I'm going like, what are you talking about? So I finally say, well, what do you mean? Where are they sitting? Because it's fine when I go out. And she tells me, well, it's the second table in on the left. So I go out and I go out to do my next scene and I look, and of course it's my mother. So what she'd been doing was every time I left the stage and other people started acting, she would go, how do you like my Jewish daughter? I like my Jewish daughter. She's
that's funny.
Jewish daughter. Right? She was like talking throughout the damn thing. And then when I'd come back in, she'd go, Sha, my daughter.
Oh, that is hysterical.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I read on your bio, or I read on that you trained with the Olympic track and field team.
I did. I went to kibbutz.
Yeah.
Between third and fourth year university.
Right.
I was training to be an actor at U of A at the theater department there, University of Alberta in Edmonton. I went to Israel, and I'm walking down the paths, and they gave me the job of taking care of the miskenim because I spoke Yiddish really well, so I could go and visit all the old folks. At any rate, this man stops me as I'm walking down the path. And in Hebrew, Giberet, blah, 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 and I don't speak Hebrew. And I said, אני לא מדברת עברית. And English? He goes, no English. And I said, redst Yiddish? He goes, avada, yo. So we speak to each other in Yiddish, and he basically says to me, I've never seen a woman as big as you who has it put together the way you do.
Oh my God.
It wasn't a come on. He was the track and field coach for the Israeli Olympic team in 1976.
Wow.
And I trained with them for 4 years. 4 months before they all left and went to Montreal to the to the Olympics.
Oh wow.
Wow.
In Montreal.
Good, great experience.
Good peasant stock.
And he goes, stay with me 6 months. You'll be the best I have. And I go, I kind of have to go back and do my 4th year of university.
Wow. When you went after that job, a professional job, I guess you went to university at U of A, you decided, you know what, if I'm going to be an actor, I ain't going to do it in Calgary. You made your way to Toronto.
Well, first of all, I had 5 job offers that year when I went to university. 5 professional gigs.
Turned down.
I turned them all down to go to university because I decided that whatever I was doing, whatever luck I was having, I didn't want it to run out. I wanted some technique. I wanted to know what I was doing.
Mm.
So yes, and then I worked the Western theater circuit constantly. I was very fortunate. I got jobs right away and continued to work. And then somebody had brought me out to Toronto 2 years earlier to do a Holocaust piece. I'm a professional Jew, it seems, about Janusz Korczak and 200 children that he marched through the Warsaw Ghetto to the trains.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very important time for me. I actually wrote about it in Still the Night.
Yeah.
I came to Toronto and did that and knew I needed to come back. And I thought that I would be here for maybe 2 years and then I'd be in New York. But here I am.
I don't think I've ever met an actress whose childhood or who has, or your religion, your Judaism has paved your path. I mean, it seems to, you've done so much work. I'm not negating that, but a big portion is your Jewish identity. It's, you know, and was that burdensome, or have you made peace with it? Because I know your family with the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company. We asked you to do a lot and sing in Yiddish and do all these wonderful plays. You did Mikvah, Bella, the Color of Love, The Jazz Singer, all these great. We say when we need a Jewish woman, there's only one woman we know. So has that been a am I asking the question? Has it been a burdensome that you're identified as a strong character Jewish actress?
I think what's interesting about that is that when I went to university to train, I didn't go to Jewish seminary to train. I went to a theater school, right? It was a BFA acting program with, clowning and dance and tap and jazz and the classics and Shakespeare and, I mean, just everything. So they actually accepted me and told my theater teacher, the same one I talked to earlier on the other story, J.P. Eady, they actually called him and said, would you please make sure Tova comes to U of A? We're so impressed. It's the first Jewish Medea we've ever met, because I did Medea as my audition piece.
Wow.
I didn't know at the time that I spoke English with a Yiddish accent.
Oh,
and
really?
It took a year and a half at the U of A for them to train my Jewish Yiddish accent, my Eastern European twang, my iron, my singing, I mean, the heavy consonants and all that I just drop into easily. I worked like a dog to get rid of it, to become the universal actress I wanted to be.
Right.
And I did French farce.
Oh, yeah.
And I did Shakespeare. And, this is a pride that I have, that I did Michel Tremblay, and then it wasn't until I came to Toronto and I was asked to do something again that was in the Yiddish world. And it was like coming home. It was like just sitting down and going, oh my God, I don't have to research this stuff. It's in my blood.
And when did you find your singing voice? Because I know you're a brilliant actress, but you're also a brilliant singer. When did that voice come out? You're a great interpreter. Let me put it that way.
Until much later. I was told in high school that I couldn't sing because I was in the theater program and not in the music program, and so there was kind of a rivalry. It's just theater lore. But I was at a party once. I was in second year university training, and I went to a party, and there was this guy, Jack Creeley.
Sure.
Do you remember Jack Creeley?
Yes,
oh, sure.
I did a play with him.
I've worked with him as well.
I did a Man Who Came to Dinner with him at the St. Lawrence Center, 1979-80.
Jack
Northmore.
He's the guy whose partner had David's, the clothing place here in Toronto, right? No, the Jack Creeley from out west?
I don't know the one Jack Creeley.
No. But anyways.
Jack, who ran, he started sitting at the piano. I had done chorus because they wouldn't let me do the role in Anything Goes. They gave it to a cheerleader. who was in the music department instead of me. But I knew all these Cole Porter tunes because I had sung in the chorus of that production. And here we are drinking at this party one night, and I just start, singing, belting the songs. And I got a call offering me a big show at Stage West. And there it is.
What is
and I
that?
did all the Joanne Worley bits, the man on the 92nd floor, down
Sure.
on the 90th floor. But it was wonderful. And I had a partner who was opera singer, and these were all major singers, and I didn't read a note. And they took such good care of me on the 5-part harmonies. They taught me to dress. They sent me out and made me do nails.
Wow.
They got me wigs. They taught me makeup. And they turned me into this, this woman performer that could maybe hold her own with
Wow. Extraordinary.
And along with acting and singing, let's talk a little bit about your writing. The first show, I think it was the first show you did for us, The Color of Love, you wrote. Did you not? Or
Is that the first one I did for you?
Well, the first show, you had done so many fundraisers for us. There you go. You played Bella Chagall, Bella, the Color of Love. Look at that gorgeous picture.
where you got to incorporate your acting and your singing and your writing.
Yeah.
And Danny Grossman choreographed it.
And
Such a
directed it,
unique,
yeah.
It's a very physical dance piece.
Very physical
Well,
piece.
I wrote the show. I co-wrote the show with the godmother of my children, one of my best friends, Mary Kerr, the
Yes, great
incredible
designer. Yeah.
and teacher and just brilliant human being, genius. And her, she designs she's just, very inspired by these great artists, and she's often got that beautiful, surreal kind of edge to her work. And she really knew Chagall intimately. And then I was given a translation of one of Bella Chagall's books that she wrote called Burning Light years ago. And somebody brought it to me and said, you really need to do this. You need to play Bella. And I read it and I wasn't inspired. It didn't touch me. I didn't understand it. And then I was in New York doing some Yiddish concerts and hanging out with the Yiddishisten there. And someone somehow landed in my lap a original Yiddish version of Brennen dicke Licht. And I read the book in the original, and that's when I went, oh God, oh yes, now I get it. This woman's voice was so wonderful. She painted pictures with words the way Chagall painted, all over the canvas and twirling into the sky, turning around, back and forward. 14 pages later, she finally lands, and you understand what it's about. So yes, Mary and I went to work, and thank you for presenting it. We had we'd done it in thank you for saying that.
Oh, it's our pleasure. You did it in Philadelphia. You did little presentation.
I actually got a phone call because of the Yiddish singing. Somebody had a tape cassette of me singing some Yiddish, and they called out of the blue Warren Hoffman from Philadelphia, and he said there's going to be this big festival here, and the theme is Paris 1920, I think, and surrealism or whatever. And do you have anything that we could do as a Jewish community that we could put into the festival? And I said, well, it's not written yet, but I've always wanted to do this show about Bella Chagall. And I talked to him about it, and he got one of the biggest bursaries, grants, and actually commissioned us to write it. So that's when we got serious and went down to Philadelphia to do it first. And then did it in New York, and did it in Brussels for art dealers, and did it in Halifax, and did it for the Harold Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you also did Funny Girl for us in concert. You played Mrs. Bryce, and you did Domina in concert with Funny Thing Happened the Way to Form. But you also did an extraordinary play for us called Mikvah, which was an all-women play about the abuse that happens in the Orthodox community. You were extraordinary in that. How was it like working with that all-women cast? The dynamic of that, quite different, I assume?
You know, first of all, Liza Balkan co-starred with me in Still the Night, so we
Yes.
were friends.
So you had a shorthand, yeah.
So to have Liza, you know, reach out and go, Tova, I want you to look at this, please. And of course, it was brilliantly written. When you invited me to do the reading of it the year before,
That's right. Yes.
I thought, how will you guys ever do this? And you did it.
Well, the reading was electric. I remember our audience reaction.
Oh,
it really caught fire with our
and
audience.
pushed so many buttons, right?
Push button. Yeah.
Like, we're not like this.
Yeah.
And it was a real responsibility, you know, and to play with and to get to know Maria Ricossa, you know, and Rosa Laborda, and Jessica Greenberg, and
Nikki Landau.
my God, and little Brittany Kay. Oh my God, they were just, the performances were so rich.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Alice Snaden.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love that actor.
But it was, you know, and then the wonderful Hasidic woman, the frum woman you brought in, the young woman, to talk to us. She was so open and kept coming back and back, and gave me gave us all different gifts, but gave me a gift of a snood to hold my wig on that the frum women actually use for opening night. It was exceptional.
It was wonderful for us too, because we saw so many.
I don't do things because they're Jewish. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
I do things because they are great pieces of art, and
absolutely.
They speak to my soul as an artist. I'm not like, you know, there are people who just sit in the Yiddish world and don't do anything else. I bring my Jewishness to the professional world, which is what
well said. Yes. And you know what? For Mikvah, it was really cool for us as producers to see an audience we don't normally see new faces, new women coming because of the subject matter. And it expanded our audience, and that was very exciting.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch, though, we're talking about theater. We have a few things in common. I'll call you Tova, but one of them is it was my first job. And I don't know if it was your first TV job, my first TV job.
One of my first. When you and I met?
Well, King of Kensington.
Yeah.
Was my first TV job.
Oh, but I don't remember meeting you on that. I remember meeting you on Hanging In.
Hanging In, but before you did an episode of King of Kensington.
Okay, so I'd just come to town.
Yes.
And I needed to become an ACTRA member. Who knew that I'd become president at one point? But I needed to become
not only a member, I'm a president. I like it so much.
Don't set your sights too low. But no, I came to town, and because I was equity, if you just had one ACTRA gig, didn't matter what it was at the time, you could buy in. So I took a special business extra, being a dancing girl on King of Kensington in my dance skin leotards, just doing calisthenics. Al Waxman.
Yeah. Oliver Shulman. Yeah.
Came over because he was, you know, he's a clown, right? He was a wonderful, brilliant man, but a clown. He loved to entertain. So he'd come over to the, you know, the background people and go, "So, kids, how you doing? You enjoying the show?" That kind of thing. I answered him in Yiddish, and he goes,
Yiddish.
Yeah. Right? His mother's name was Tobe.
Oh, his daughter is Tova. Toby. Yeah.
Tobaron now.
Yeah.
Tobaron. Yes, and so we, like, every time they cut, he would come back to me, and he wanted to speak more Yiddish, and I speak such a good Yiddish, and he goes, "Von wann kommst du? Like, where do you come from? How come you speak so good?" And well, it's my first language. I actually make more mistakes in English, or I used to. And so then he was going out to Calgary to do some kind of event to the Jewish community, and he was doing the whole Jewish geography thing, and who should I know? Who should I suck up to? Anyway, we were the best of friends, and when I became the best of friends, and when I did Still the Night, bless Al Waxman, he came and introduced me at fundraisers.
Oh, wow.
He did me a favor to say, I don't do this for many people, but I'm going to do this for this, because this story needs to be told.
Beautiful.
And you and I only worked together once also. You and I we recreated We Don't Have to Be Jewish at Massey Hall. Remember that? Oh, my God.
It was so much fun.
Jamie Farr.
Jamie Farr.
You did all the Betty. Walker stuff, and I did all the new Jacoby stuff.
That's right. That's
Right.
right. And I had listened, we'd both, I mean, I'd listened to that album my whole childhood. I knew it backwards and forwards, all the voices.
Well, it was the weirdest audition. They didn't care if we could act or not. They just wanted to know if we could imitate those people.
Right.
It was so
Oh,
bizarre.
that's so funny.
I'm coming. I'm hiding.
I grew up with those records too.
Oh my God.
Brilliant. And remember Bob Booker, who actually wrote the show,
Yes.
came from New York for one of the shows to see it at
That's
Massey.
right. Yeah,
Oh.
that was great.
Right.
You played that old place, and you
Aren't
played
we blessed?
you played
Aren't we
Yenta
blessed?
in the Brent Carver Fiddler on the Roof. Did you not? Yeah.
I
That was an extraordinary production with Susan Schulman. That design with the two revolves and the whole circle of Anatevka. I had never seen a more beautiful production. It was stunning. It was stunning, seminal, and
And can I tell you something?
yeah,
I mean, you think maybe this life is easy. It ain't. I had never auditioned for Stratford. And then I see they're doing Fiddler, and I go, well, they got to see me for that. Right? My agent called. He was so embarrassed. And he said, I'm so sorry. I could only get you a chorus audition. 8 a.m. And I said, well, for which part? For Yenta? For Golda? And he says, I don't even know. It's just come in and do your best 16 bars. So I said, you know what? You did your job. You got me in the room. Fine. And I got one of my friends, a wonderful pianist, to come with me early in the morning, 8 a.m. Horrible time to sing for anybody. At any rate, and you walk in and Susan Schulman looks up and goes, so what did you pick for me to choose from? Because you were supposed to bring 5 songs that she would choose what she wanted to hear. So I basically said, well, I'm going to sing a song from the Yiddish theater repertoire of the compatriots, the peers of Sholem Aleichem, and I think it'll show you what you need. And she went, okay. So I started a song called Avremel de Barvicher, Avremel the Pickpocket. And I went to the second half where I blow my chords and really show them my belt. And she didn't stop me. So what was I supposed to do for the second part? It was like, oh my God. Anyway, I sang the whole damn song.
Wow.
And she stands up, comes up, hands me a piece of script and goes, go out and study that and come back in. And I looked and it was Yenta. And I went, not Golda? And she goes, just go. Just go.
Wow.
And yeah, they offered it to me the next day.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much. People say, "Oh, you got a lucky break" or something like this. The luck is in the hard work. You know.
Imagine if I, got my nose out of joint and said, "Well, I'm not going to a chorus audition." Right? I mean, I'm not a chorister. But no, yeah, it was important. And then they auditioned me to see if they could use me in the Gilbert and Sullivan, and I had a wonderful part in Patience, playing.
Wow.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I did Shaw too, right?
Yeah.
And I've been lucky. I've been very, very fortunate.
And beyond your career, we talked about getting into television and extra. I mean, you started, correct me if I'm wrong, as a child advocate officer, or not even an officer, but the head of that division within ACTRA.
As a mother, I started as a mother protecting my children.
Right.
Because I don't let people take advantage of me or my children. And so I had 3 grievances the year that my children started doing some work in film and TV. And I won all 3 because I won't go into long stories, but they were wrong. They shouldn't do this. And to performers, no matter how old they are. And I was asked by ACTRA staff, Ida Zimler-Schiff,
Sure.
she said to me, would you obviously know what you're doing. Do you mind doing this for all kids instead of just your own kids? And within 6 months, I was negotiating the children's section for film and TV across the country. And helped write the rule book for kids in television, and then worked at it for, oh my God, how many years? And I'm so proud. 2015, We actually worked and got legislation passed in the province of Ontario to protect all children working
Amazing.
in the live and the recorded media.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And you've also been in a tumultuous two-term presidency. I say tumultuous, not in your two terms, but in the times that
Oh
you're
my
serving
God.
them.
I was just
with the
going to
Me Too
say,
movement.
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
going to say that. I mean, the women's movement, Black Lives Matter, COVID, I mean, extraordinary
Issues to
time.
navigate. Yeah.
I think every person who serves as a leader at ACTRA has their time, has their struggle, their challenge. But as a friend of mine said the other day, could anything else happen during your terms? Plagues and locusts next?
What does a president do, Tova? I mean, you're the president of ACTRA. What does that mean?
I'm president of the largest branch of ACTRA, which is Toronto, the Toronto branch.
Can you tell our audience what the acronyms mean? What ACTRA stands for?
Alliance for Canadian Television and Radio Artists.
Great.
It was created 75 years ago. It used to be called RACS or something. Rats, radio artists, whatever.
Good foresight.
Yeah, one of their first slogans was they were fighting for $1 a hauler on radio.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Right? When there was no organized contracts, there was no proper pay, there was no proper conditions. So every 3 years, we sit together with the big producers, and be it commercials, be it video games, be it the independent production agreements, the large films that you see shot here, and we negotiate minimum terms and conditions and working conditions for actors to work and have a bit. And this is the big part, is we went even on strike for this. Well, in 95, 96, which is the first negotiation I did, we fought for participation on the back end. You get paid for your day's work, but then you get a little taste of, we share distributors' gross revenue, and you share a tiny percentage of it. And the most I've ever gotten, I think, is $4,000 on a project, on a residual. Most checks are $1.23. But last year we gave out $12 million to actors.
Wow.
Back end payments, and so they do add up. And if a project is successful, and they keep selling it around the world, which can be done now, you still participate because it's your work.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And the actors in the film business, unlike in the theater world, are working now. How are they negotiating, and how is that going, the work environment? And it's been successful so far?
Jews don't knock on wood, but just pray that it stays this way. Our staff, we did a lot of consultation with our members, as to our leading members, our background performers, our stunt performers, everyone, to say, what do you need? What would make you feel safe going back to work during COVID? And of course, the range of answers are as big as the number of people, wanting to work. Some people are so afraid to go to work no matter what. Others are going, don't make any restrictions. I just want to work. Don't get in my way. I'll risk anything and everything. So we got together with the Ontario government, with all the other guilds and the unions, in what they call Section 21, the safety committees. There was 14 committees. Everything we asked for, they agreed to, and there is published guidances that we abide by. In the province of Ontario, we are the gold standard.
Beautiful.
So it's wearing the masks, it is washing of hands, it is social distancing unless you're in a scene where you have to remove the mask. But they limit exposure, they limit how many people around you. As you can imagine, hair and makeup is very different. No sharing of anything, no eating while you're having your lips done. Everything is much healthier, much more protective of the environment, of the droplets, of everything. And to date, we have had not one super spreader event on a set.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's not that there haven't been people found with positive tests, but those cases have come from off the set. They have not been spread in the workplace.
That's
So
interesting.
very proud of that. Let it remain so.
Okay.
You deal with a lot of personal issues. Do people come to you personally with grievances? I mean, is that tough? I mean, because they know you, so they want to go through you.
I think they probably do that with all presidents.
Representatives, yeah, or presidents, yeah.
You boys know me, you men, sorry, you men know me so well. I'm not a big email person. If I'm going to have to write you a big tome, I'm going to pick up the phone and we're going to have a conversation. So I spend many days on the phone from 9 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And speaking with members, hearing their concerns, telling them what's going on, if they haven't been able to listen to the town halls that we hold every few weeks, if they haven't been reading their emails, and basically meeting with government, lobbying for CERB so that we weren't forgotten, because we don't qualify for EI, and now the CRB, lobbying for insurance coverage for our producers, our Canadian producers. That's a big one right now. It's very difficult. Tomorrow I'll be on a call with the Federation of International Actors Unions that normally would come together for this meeting, but we're all meeting by Zoom. And tomorrow to talk about the work we must do to change the culture of systemic racism in our industry. I mean, there's just so much.
It goes on and on. Absolutely.
I'm so proud of the work we did in reaction to the Me Too movement and the Harvey Weinstein wake-up call that we all had.
Yeah.
It's
amazing. And there's a lot of unions, but ACTRA is really one of the strongest and most vibrant one.
We're member-driven. We're member-driven, so, we listen to our members, and that's where it's not a bunch of lawyers deciding what we are fighting for. It's actors.
How much longer do you have in your term?
Our constitution allows me 2-year terms, and that will be up in January of 2021.
And what happens then for Tova?
Well, politically, I'll remain on as past president.
Sure,
that's good.
To help support the next president.
Yeah,
and I know I'll stay connected very much with the respect and anti-bullying files, and so I'll be doing that at least for another 2 to 4 years, and I think it's time for others. I've done this for a while. You've done
a fabulous job. Now, speaking of jobs and working for the Herald Green, you've done a couple of beautiful virtual performances for us. One coming up on Thursday, going back to your Yiddish roots, with a really beautiful rendition of a reading of Sholem Aleichem. Can you let us know something about that and what experience that was for you?
Oh my gosh! Yes, the clock.
That's this Thursday, yeah.
Clock. Oh, it's such a wonderful story. First of all, I love Sholem Aleichem. I've got his whole anthology, all of his writing in Yiddish, in the original, sitting right there.
Wow.
Isn't that wonderful? Sholem Aleichem, Aleichem Sholem, right?
Yeah.
There's peace for everyone.
Yeah.
His nom de plume. I mean, what a brilliant! One of the first shows I did back when I was still in junior high or something, I did Tevye and his daughters.
Wow.
Oh, right. The precursor of the story.
Yeah.
Not Fiddler. Right. Just the
Yeah.
play. And I was so young. I played one of the young ones. Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of that in a long time.
Yeah.
The circle closes.
And then in a couple of weeks, we do the radio version of Crossing to Lancy, where you played the booby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a radio version. We're very excited about
work, isn't she? My
God, yeah.
And you put together such an amazing cast for this.
Oh my God,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, it was
Sarah
wonderful.
Orenstein. I mean, just delicious. And
Jonas Chernick and
Jonas
Jordan
and
Peddle and Tal Gottfried.
just brilliant. And what a well-written piece.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful, and it really speaks to us today.
You know, time is
Yeah.
winding down so fast that I can't believe we only have about 10 minutes left. Can you talk about David and Tara? Can you talk about your children? Let us know. Are you a booby? Do you have grandchildren or
No, I'm
not
not.
yet? Okay.
No, I'm not a booby, but I'm I'm not a.
Nice.
Beautiful.
It's funny. David is my oldest. Oh,
Yes.
there they are. Oh, look at him. He's a mountain man.
Yeah.
He's gonna hate if he will never listen to this. But I swear, when he cuts his hair, he looks like Russell Crowe.
Wow.
Like he's so good looking. And I look at him and I go, David. He just. But I think he does this to bug me because years ago he came in and he had it shaved. I actually did a triple take. I mean, he's a blonde, big, burly boy, and he walks in with a shaved head, looking like a Nazi. I couldn't take it. Like, seriously. And he goes, well, I'm not. I went, I know, but why are you doing this to me? David is he's a gentle giant. He's
Firefighter? A firefighter?
Well, that's his volunteer world.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a volunteer firefighter.
Okay.
You were snooping on my Facebook. Yeah, I posted this picture.
Yeah.
Trust him, he was a child actor. And there's 4 firemen in this shot, and he's the only one holding on the pipe and looking right down the lens of the journalist who took the picture of him. The only one, right? Always knows how to find his mark. But he's a gentle giant. They call him the vanilla gorilla. He's into snowboarding. He's into mountain biking. He basically heliports up to, he takes the helicopter up to 7,000 foot peaks and comes down winter and summer. That's what he lives for.
Wow.
And he's a builder like his dad. And he just built himself a tiny home that he's living
Wow. Very cool.
in the mountains of BC in
Beautiful.
Revelstoke. It's
Beautiful.
just it's so exciting.
And Tara?
And Tara is the most brilliant, beautiful woman. She's so smart, and she's so kind, and she's got this social ethic about her, morality, about wanting to do good for society and for people, and that's what she's all about. She works. She's very concerned about food security and sustainability and bees and all of that.
Wow.
She's just an amazing human being. I truly say when people meet my children, I think they think better of me because I've somehow, birthed incredible human beings.
Did they know their grandparents?
It's a complicated story.
Okay.
They met them very seldom. I was estranged from my mother for many, many, many years. But she did see Still the Night. She did finally see it in Montreal at the Centaur Theatre.
Right.
And that's a whole other story.
Right.
That'd be in another play.
Yeah.
Still the Night too.
I hope you write it. I hope you write it.
I think I will. There were many things I couldn't write about because they were still alive.
Yeah.
And there are many things that still need to be investigated and told. Yeah.
It's a complicated life.
It seems like you've been able to let a lot go, which is wonderful. You seem to be able to have forgiven, because then you can only. It's not that it's not forgetting, but you've let it. You seem to have embraced it and let that past go, which is.
I think one of the best things I ever did for my state of mind was writing Still the Night and performing not just myself as a young girl, but my mother.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Oh,
yeah.
They were just.
That must have done. You're right. Processed a certain amount of pain and anxiety. Processed it.
And
it's
I
not in front of you. Yeah.
I often play a little game with myself before an important night, where, CBC, Globe and Mail, everybody's going to come and review you. And I often write the worst review you could write from, or at least the headline, so that no matter what they say, won't get to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? So it's just a little game I play with myself. I go, what are they going to say that's really going to hurt? And on Still the Night, the bad review I wrote was, nice piece of therapy, Miss Tova. What's it got to do with the rest of us? And thankfully, that's not what they said.
Oh, wow.
The one that I got was, but I didn't write it, but the one that I got was like, listening to Saltzman sing is like listening to fingernails on slate. Now, that's not one I made up for myself. That was an actual one.
No.
There you go.
Oh yeah. But that's you know what? I can't believe this hour flew by so fast. I think we have to bring it back in another time
But before we go to the closing, you know what I forgot to say at the beginning? Our conversations on the green, and Matt, our wonderful GM, put it up briefly, are sponsored by Goldstein Financial, and we're very grateful for that. So Goldstein Financial Consultants. Thank you, Sonny Goldstein. He's a great friend of our theater company.
And also Matt, we want to say hello. Matt's running everything backstage, putting up our faces.
There he is.
There he is.
What, no tie?
No.
You didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
But
Guys, can I just say, just a minute, a minute. You've been such good friends and so kind. And David, your generosity when you direct is par none. You are, you understand, where we're coming from, and you just listen, and you're the best collaborator. Avery, every time you've asked me to do one of those fundraisers and you give me a suggestion of what I should sing, I know I've told you this before, but I always go, what? I'm not going to do that. And then it always becomes one of my favorite songs in my repertoire. Like you just somehow, how to pick material for people. I mean, when you asked me to do, White Christmas in Yiddish, and I called my dear friend Hindi Abelson and got her to work on a great translation. And I remember the audience is going, "What's the word for Christmas? Nickel." It's like,
and stormy weather in Yiddish.
Stormy weather.
Oh, that was fabulous.
It's always ended up being such a gift.
Well, it only shows because you have a beautiful transparency that I could see that where something would fit on you beautifully, and you've never disappointed. And we have a Harold Green Jewish Theater Company lightning round. So David and I are going to ask you questions that you can only give a 1 or 2 word answers.
Okay.
They're fun. The first question is, what do you put on your latkes? Applesauce or sour cream?
Sugar!
Oh, okay.
I'm a Polish Jew. White sugar.
Oh, that sounds sweet. On your bagel and cream cheese. Lux or nothing?
Oh, Lux.
Beautiful.
Lux.
Favorite Jewish comedian?
Oh,
Yes.
favorite Jewish comedian?
One of them.
There's so many. Oi. I don't know.
We'll come back to it. Favorite film. One of your favorite films.
Favorite film? Well, I'm just gonna go with Gone with the Wind.
There you
Lovely. Pineapple.
Tara.
Yeah. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yes.
You have a tattoo, and if so, where?
No.
Okay, that's good.
It's a regret.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Next time you come back, you'll watch Theresa read The Clock by Sholem Aleichem this Thursday. We saw it looks beautiful. It's going to be gorgeous. 8 o'clock.
What a beautiful story it was, huh?
Stunning, and you did it. You delivered it beautifully.
Oh,
and our last question: if you had one word for the future of humanity, what would it be?
Kindness.
Nice.
We have to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, Theresa, your kindness and love. It takes maybe a village to start a theater company. It takes a village of wonderful actors like you, and you're part of the Harold Green family, to sustain and grow a theater company. We're so proud and feel so lucky to know you as a friend and as a performer. And thank you for sharing this hour with us.
It was
Thank you for asking.
It was a great, sweetie. And take care. Keep working hard. You wear it well. You look beautiful.
Tell me what you call me before we go.
Pardon me?
You call me sweetie. You call me.
Tell me my little cookie.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside.
There you go.
My beautiful cookie. Love you, sweetie.
Canadian
Love
Sabra.
you both.
Good night, everybody. And we'll
Bye,
see you next week.
everybody.
And our guest is Amy Sky.
Hey, Amy.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
next Monday night. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.